Good morning, everybody. So I've just set up this frame for a shoot that we're doing this morning. I'm just waiting for the client to get here. So whilst I waited for said client, I thought that I would take the opportunity, use the beautiful view that you can see behind me, really letting the skyline of London speak for itself here. And that same client yesterday asked me a question that I've been thinking about last night and this morning, kind of whilst I've been getting set up here. And that question was, do I think that entrepreneurship, i.e., running your own business, doing your own thing, do I think that it's overrated? And the response that I gave him yesterday was a resounding yes. Basically, my thing is like people are either wired towards the chaos and the thrill and the agency of entrepreneurship or they're not. And I think that a lot of people really do try to force themselves and force their personality into this route of entrepreneurship because on the internet you only really see the positive side of things. You only really get to see the wins. You only really get to see the positive consequences of this path, which for most of what's on the internet, at least in the stuff that I see, is success and money and micro niche notoriety and fame. It's travel, it's adventure, it's specifically for me working with cool clients, having all the kit and the gear that you want and stuff like that. So what I wish that a lot of people would do more, and this is ultimately what I'm going to try and do in this video, is just articulate some of the aspects of entrepreneurship and doing your own thing that I don't think enough people speak about. And if they do speak about it, I don't feel like they really go into the depths of the emotional toll on top of the physical toll and the mental toll and the spiritual toll that this path does take. Now, at the moment, I feel entirely emotionally exhausted. I have just been through probably one of the busiest periods that we've had, definitely that we've had this year, if not any other year that we've been doing this. I've had a wedding, my own wedding. I've got some stuff going on in the background on a personal side of things with family and stuff like that. And it's one of those where you have to adapt your character and the person that you are and the way that you deal with things, that you have to adapt to this life, this new way of being, right? Where everything is 100% 24/7, never really take some time off. And if you do take time off, you spend that time worrying, feeling guilty, feeling stressed because you're not doing the things that you know you need to be doing that you're going to come back to. And obviously this changes over time when you begin to bring in more people and you begin to have kind of additional support. But ultimately, the responsibility still lies with you. And I personally haven't found that by bringing in more people and by alleviating and delegating some of the pressures that you may feel on a day-to-day basis, I really haven't found that that's done too much by ways of actually kind of alleviating that feeling and the stress and the pressure that I just mentioned that comes along with it. I think that everything is totally fine. I spoke about this in a previous video, that you can have a complicated personal life or a complicated professional life, and you kind of just have to choose which one. And when things really get whipped up with both, which is just life, then things can begin to feel quite unmanageable and quite chaotic. Ultimately, it's kind of one of those processes where you just have to get used to the constant, relentless nature of this game, if that's the game that you are going to choose to play. Now, the upside of this game is phenomenal, right? When you're flying high and projects are coming through thick and fast, and you're creating, in my case, you're creating work that you genuinely care about and you would do regardless of whether you were being paid or not. that is incredible. And it is something that I have dreamt of for many years and is now here. But I think that I've said this so much in the past that when you think of these things and when you think of doing all of this thing, you don't consider the stress and the pressure, and like I just mentioned, the relentless nature of the job that you've chosen. You don't think that all of that is going to come alongside with it, because how could you perceive that? You know, again, coming back to the start of this video, not a lot of people talk about that sort of stuff, and I really think that we're doing a lot of people a disservice by recommending that they start on this path, because what a lot of people do is they start on the path and everything feels fantastic and exciting and amazing, and you may get your first couple of clients through, and that is a huge dump of dopamine and adrenaline when you finally get that proof of concept that like people will pay you, and you specifically, not a company, but they will pay you to do solve problems that they have and stuff like that. That is such a thrill. And then you kind of get to this place where you've secured your own kind of, not secured, but you are comfortable financially with the work that's coming through and the amount of pressure that's on you and stuff like that. You've kind of reached that level. But you know that in order to get to the next level is going to require 2x, 3x, 5x, 10x the inputs and into the task that you're doing, and into the workload and into the management and all of that sort of stuff. And I think that's really where the pressure comes in, and kind of this is the cooking pot and the pressure pot that I find myself in at the moment, is that we have amazing clients, we have amazing work, and there is a lot going on all the time, which is incredible, and I wouldn't want it any other way. But we're in this stage now where we need to bring in more people, but you don't have the financial security to feel comfortable. And I don't think you ever will, to be honest. Speaking to mentors and speaking to kind of clients and stuff like that, I just don't think that you ever will. And really, the point that I'm trying to make in this video is that I think that a lot of people, and most people who enter into the game of entrepreneurship and enter into the game of starting their own business, would probably do much better and live a much happier and peaceful and contented life if they just found the thing that they love doing and followed their passion, and then found a company or found an organization that's going to allow them to fulfill that passion. And it doesn't even have to be that. Like, I advocate for the fact that you should love work and you should love what you do. Obviously, it's the background that I've come from, is that like this is born out of passion, and this is born out of love, and this is born out of a deep desire to essentially capture and promote life-changing moments. That's what we do, and that's what I do it for. And it always comes back to that mission. But I don't think that a lot of people have to do that. I think that if you find a job that you love with people that you love working with, it doesn't necessarily have to be your passion, doesn't have to be the thing that you love. That could be something that you do outside of work, right? And really what I'm trying to say is that I don't necessarily agree with this narrative that's being spun on the internet, particularly at the moment, and probably just so that you'll buy their course, right? In that entrepreneurship is the way to freedom. Daniel Priestley talks about this quite a lot, and he talks about if there were more entrepreneurs, if there were more people that did their own thing, etc., etc. And I always hear the argument back to him like, well, a lot of people don't want to be entrepreneurs, and a lot of people really, not in a derogatory way, but don't have what it takes, or don't have the will to persist through the pressure and the stress and the negative consequences off the back of deciding to kind of go down this path. So that's kind of everything that I've got to say on this topic, really. I think that I'm speaking from a place of emotion at the moment, because I do genuinely feel emotionally exhausted and physically exhausted and completely battered. Things do slow down in November, which I'm very much looking forward to. I've had the office for 2 months that I haven't done anything with. I've got projects, internal kind of projects that I want to work on and need attention, but haven't had any, because client work has to take priority and has to come first because it's revenue generating, right? And I would take what I say right now with a pinch of salt, because of the stuff that I've just mentioned and the place that I'm in mentally and emotionally at the moment. But I do think that the core message that I'm trying to leave here does still ring true, in that I do think that entrepreneurship is overrated. However, for the select few people, it is massively underrated, and ultimately is a path to agency, to freedom, to living life entirely on your terms, dictated by you and nobody else. And that is phenomenal. And I couldn't ask for anything else. So for me, entrepreneurship is underrated, but I think for the average person, kind of looking at videos on the internet and this kind of stylized and an idolized life that a lot of the gurus out there will paint, it's probably not for you. And I would think long and hard about uh, the impact of the decision that you're going to make if you do choose to go down this path. And that's everything that I've got to say. Feel free to check out the rest of the videos on the channel. None of them have a view as nice as this, so I apologize for that, but hopefully you get some value out of it. And if you do, feel free to subscribe, like, leave a comment, help me grow the channel, and help me continue to put messages out there like this, because I do really enjoy it. And I do think that for the right person and the person that I used to be 5-10 years ago, these videos could be really helpful. Talk soon.